Um, I was introduced to this gentleman by Purna, saying that he's supposed to be the Pharaoh kind of a figure, and he really was a HR head, and he really got into so many things and trying to establish things in the organization. So that's how I got introduced to him, and I welcome Mr. Jaikishan to talk about our experiences with HR of Vishwa. Sir, welcome.
Good evening, all of you. It's really wonderful to see the entire HR team under one roof for the first time. And I do recollect the earlier days when it was just a 3-member team, and when Amar joined. And HR is very, very different from what we started. And very rightly, our CMD said, the definition of HR was told by, or defined by Mr. Vishwa. In fact, he was managing the entire administration, and then the first employee was Mr. Venkat, recruited by my colleague Mr. Govardhan Reddy, and then he was followed by Suhasini. Both of them had left her company for better posting, yes, but she got married. And now we have a huge team of 300, and I'm sure that what you said, the figure of 300 for a period of time is possible and is required. Probably it might increase. But the way we are planning to grow. I was planning to speak something, when yesterday Lakshmi came and told me that I need to talk about BD. Then I said, okay, and how HR can help BD. And I was just trying to introspect what are things. Then I said there's nothing much that we have a problem over there where HR intervention is required, except that we do require manpower. The scope of BD is slightly changing, and that's issue. This is a couple of problems that me and Amar will sort out slowly. It takes its own time. But to tell you in brief, I would say that we are all in Vishwa at the right time. One-liner, a gold mine. It's a gold mine in terms of potential. And very rightly said by CMD, we are passing through an adolescence stage. There's a kind of an orbit change from when I joined 4 years ago, it was 113 crores turnover. This is my 4th year here. The 3rd year is completed, and we have crossed 600. Now, if somebody had said in 3 years or 4 years we're going to cross 600, then somebody would have laughed and would not have taken it seriously. And then we have grown. And probably when Sir joined, it was 45 crores. Oh, sorry, 63 crores. 63 crores. So that's the way we are going. We are in the right business. The infrastructure industry by itself is growing, and another beautiful thing is the promoters. They are together since '92, and they are young. Young, I call all people below 70 as young. Sir, ठीक है ना?
Not your point.
We are there.
Not your point.
Okay. So the take over here I would like to summarize is that it's a gold mine. There are challenges because of this adolescence, and in every company, in a lifetime of a person, adolescence comes once. After 16, by the time you touch 21, the adolescence is over. But in a company like ours, this adolescence comes in every orbit change. There will be an adolescence stage when we cross maybe 3,500, 4,000 crores. When we touch 10,000, it's a different ballgame altogether. Keeping that in mind, our colleague Mr. Sudhakar, the other day we had a good meeting where a seed of thought was planted that now we need to revisit everything. The vision has to be revisited. The vision that we defined 20 years ago, do we need to change it? Keeping the 2020 target of 10,000 crores. And then
all core members were involved. We're going to have a brainstorming session on that. And what I'm trying to say is that the company has realized that no, we need to make some changes. A change is required. So we need to introspect ourselves. This is the same thing what Mr. Pargi told this morning. So we need change. And I'm glad that he has joined us, and he can definitely, guide us a lot with his vast experience. Having given a chance to speak, let me try to market BD a little. Like the HR definition got evolved from personal relations to industrial relations and all that, we also made some changes. 2 years ago, we were called a tendering department, and today we are being called a BD department. But is BD and tendering same? No. BD and tendering are not same. Today we are in the nascent stages of BD. All these days we've been doing tendering, and to a great extent we are doing tendering now. If you see last year's turnover, more than 90% or probably more than 95% is coming from water and wastewater. This year, the equations will change. You will find some turnover from roads, some from mining, some from building industry, that is the Kodama project. Basically that. And then over a period of time, probably our turnover would constitute 70% to 75% water, 25% could be non-water. When you say 25% of 10,000 crores, you're talking about 2,500 crores of turnover, which is non-water. That's a big thing. Now you cannot just achieve 2,500 crores of turnover in that. We need to build up our capability. There's one area, Mr. Sudhakar Rao, he is going to handle public sector and private sector, which we had not tapped. We always been tapping the water and wastewater in the municipal sector. The water that is supplied to the houses and the wastage, the municipal waste water, not again the kachara stuff and all that. The treatment, we were confined to that. Now he is going to tap the industrial water aspect. One interesting statistics, it's quite interesting. Again, taken from your slide, sir. I was also zapped. The total water available on the planet, 97.5% is salt water. Then what is left is 2.5% of the entire water available on the planet. Out of this 2.5%, almost 70% is in glaciers. 30% is groundwater. And what is above, what you find the rivers and all that is 0.4% of that, 2.5%. Right? Now, if you just take the groundwater and the surface water available, as a percentage of the entire water available, it is 0.76%. That's all. Now, how is this distributed? About 77% is going for agriculture and waterways and all that. And then about 10%, 11% goes for industries, 6% comes for domestic use. I mean, quite scary. And that's what the whole world is talking about. This region could be a water stressed area after 2025, 2030. And that's what the talk of water conservation and all that. Right? Now, coming back to business development and tendering. Business development is what happens before tendering. Currently, in municipal sector, what business development do we do? Let's say there's a new market. We are not tapped Punjab at all. Recently, we got 3 projects. Now, what kind of business development do we do? Or what we're doing in Punjab? We did nothing. We were going through all the newspapers. We find an IT. We participate. If there's a shortage in pre-qualification, we tie up with somebody as a joint venture partner, then we get the work, then we start developing rapport. Okay. Now, typically, after that's over, the entire tender documents, etc., is handed over to the project department, and the BD stops there. Strictly speaking, I feel that we should not. Though the project department would be executing the project, the BD team should also visit the site once in a while, once in 3 months, 4 months, develop a rapport with that executive engineer, junior engineer and all, because sometimes that junior engineer is going to become a C and he might decide the tender, or he might get transferred to other area. So you don't have to, so even after getting the project, the BD team should be going to the project site and develop rapport with the client. And once you develop rapport with the client and you become pally with him, it's possible that he might share, saying that Tarnaka se upar tak ek pipeline ka concept hai, सोच रहे हम लोग, then maybe we can influence. Sir, why don't you use GRP over there? Why don't you use MS over there? Which was not possible, which would not be possible when you are a new entrant into that state. So that's why this rapport development during the project execution also should be done. So that is not. What we are doing now is basically tendering. And BD is one department of. By the time I think we touch 5,000 crores, BD would be a separate function by itself, no way concerned with tender. No way concerned with tender, might be reporting to a CEO. So that's the difference between BD. In other words, the difference between HR and personal management. Right? HR is not just recruitment, also much more than that. So this BD is much more than pure tendering. So that's all I have about business development. And if I have some time, let me try to touch upon something. A bit of advice. Mr. Sudhakar Rao has covered all the aspects of this. That was fantastic. Wonderful experience shared by Mr. Prasad. Very wonderful. Please note each and every point that he shared. It's like they say, what they don't teach at Harvard. What he said is that kind of stuff. Understand the site people, especially, let's say, when you talk of project coordination. Let's say I'm in project coordination. If I'm trying to call a site guy, who is our colleague over there, he's not sitting in an air-conditioned office, assuming he has not seen the DPR, or he has not seen the stock statement, whatever it is. Suppose there's a delay. If I call, क्या हो गया यार, वो अभी तक DPR नहीं मिला, मेरे को CMD को देना है, this, he'll get pissed off. First of all, find out where is it. Maybe he's dealing with the police guy over there and all that. Call him. Is it a good time to talk? It's something about DPR. Then he'll say, "एक 5 मिनट में फोन कर देना यार." He develop a rapport with them. Then you should find out. यार DPR का एक प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ है क्या? इधर की यार परसों तक का है, कल का फिगर नहीं मिला. Then I can say, काम करना अभी जरा जो है तो जरा ऑफिस में फोन करके बोल दे, भेज दे, शाम में जरा भेज देना. So that by tomorrow I update. Nobody will say no. It's very important. But if you ask, क्या हुआ यार? तुमको सैटरडे भेजने का था, मंडे हुआ अभी तक नहीं भेजा, he will be like this. And once it is like this, it requires a great amount of effort to dilute that. Because one problem with this mind is like the underworld thing. अंदर आने का रास्ता है, बाहर नहीं जाता है. Whatever is in the mind, it remains. We say that now, we forgotten and all that. It is dormant. It surfaces the slightest instinct. So just don't create that thing. The site is one area, because even when we talk about 6,000 people, CMD has said that head office staff will not increase more than probably, he said 200, 300, but then we will go up to 500. Each of the regional offices will be probably bigger than the head office in course of time. That's it. I think extempore I could only share this thing. Yeah, one more thing. Be sincere. There's a very important responsibility that HR has. Very rightly said by CMD, and that was the starting speech. And the last one was again by Mr. Sudhakar Rao. Both started talking about being a mother. And that's what, when yesterday Rajan and Lakshmi came, we talked about that. It's like a mother or a karta of a Hindu undivided family. That's the role of HR. So, and we need to do it sincerely. Now, how will a site guy or any other colleague in the office, I mean, why would they take your word for it? They should start trusting you. When they trust you, then they will be open for listening to your concepts. And when they're open for listening to your concept, then you can sell that concept, understand from that particular point of view. Suppose it says कि कंपनी का टर्नओवर 10,000 करोड़ का है, तो कर लो, मेरे को क्या करना है, मेरा तुमका क्या होगा. But if you say यार ये होने से ऐसा हो सकता है, there are more opportunities, this, and then there's a benefit over there. Relate the benefit to him, and then change management, all those things becomes easy. That's it. And one more very important, that's a pet subject of mine, because why I keep telling this quite often is when I was studying in Vivek, that's a school in Hyderabad, I was up to class 6th, I was always class 1st, class 2nd, never crossed class 5. And then sometime in the 7th standard, we were shifted to the high school. The first day I was talking to my friend and all that, they made me sit at the back. Then all my friends, and they rearranged the sections. The Marathi, those who had first language Marathi, they were into one section and all that. Then I just got formed into another group, and that was a different kind of a group. Then my studies went for a 6 and all that. With great difficulty, and by copying one particular subject in 10th, I cleared that. And I had a guilt feeling that had I not had, there was a objective type question paper, I was so stupid that I was not getting the answer. The invigilator, he just took out the paper and stood in front of me like that. Is that okay, and I got on he just like this, Bekov, little. Then I passed. But that guilt feeling was that when had he not shown me that, I would have failed in 10th. My dad picked me up. He said, what's wrong? I said, maybe I might fail. He said, you studied, no? Go home, sleep, and then prepare for next day's examination. Heavens are not going to fall. Fantastic support. And then I cleared. But that was lingering in my mind. Then I joined a college, St. Joseph Junior College, Hyderabad. All my colleagues, or all my college mates, they were either from Central School, Public School, Little Flower School. They speak English like anything. And in our school, we never used to speak in English. We do write, but even in English, the English teacher used to explain that in Hindi. So then there was a problem. Fortunately, I had a good friend, good friends. They never made me feel small. And the urge that I should not be a failure, it started from there. And then I joined. By the time I touched degree, I had overcome all that stuff. And then I realized that the communication is a very important thing. And especially when you are in HR, and for that matter, why HR, any person, communication is very, very important. And it takes time. See, if you do not know about, let's say, auditing, per se, you buy a couple of books, sit with somebody, take a 3-month course, yes, you get a feel of what auditing is. But you cannot, or we cannot, improve our language over a period of 2 days or 3 days, and you cannot read 10 hours a day and improve English. It's a continual process. And that is what I have listed in one of the letters. And I keep repeating that, there's nothing new, because I keep repeating that, the one which Sharma was talking about, we should. Now, not many of us get an opportunity to write letters compared to our old days, like for everything there's no email, so we used to write a letter. Since we don't get an opportunity, the best thing could be start writing a diary. Now, what shall I write? Don't say, I went to office in the morning, this and that. That's okay, take it. You can write something, like you can even comment, speak to yourself. Let's say there's a Telangana agitation. You support it or do not support it. Or for the heck of it, you say, I support it. Or for the heck of it, you don't support it. And keep writing something. You get a flow of words. Otherwise, what happens in official language, official letters, if you take politics department, 30 to 40 letters you see, I think you can easily manage throughout your career. either ask for a quotation, you send a reminder why the quotation not come, you negotiate a price, you send a purchase order, you do think about 50, 60 later, that's it. Here you get a chance to write lots of things. The language is never, it keeps changing. You should listen to things. That's again one way of input. Keep reading books. There are a good number of books available. Choose a book of your choice. You can even read Filmfare or a Cineblitz. The language is fantastic. They've got a different style of writing. Do that thing. And the other tips, which I don't want to repeat it, it's already there on evishwa.com. So I request you that all of us must improve our communication skills. I would say the person who's got a good communication skill can get easily 30 to 40,000 extra salary. I know one, I don't want to name, he is very much in this company. If his language was good, his salary would have been at least 50,000 plus. I know the potential. 50,000. I know there's somebody else whose language is good, but intrinsically not all that good. He's drawing that kind of salary. Just because the language is not good, he is at least 50,000 less. So please do learn that. Keep improving on that. And thank you very much.
I request